Trump's sentencing in New York is canceled indefinitely. And there you have it. Exactly what I told you would happen, which is the legal system is a political system. The president of the United States will not go to prison because of a state level charge. That is a constitutional crisis. In many other countries, the head of state is immune from prosecution to prevent that kind of constitutional or legitimacy crisis. If the people decide to elect a criminal, then that criminal will remain sovereign. And the recourse is to convince a majority of people to get rid of that motherfucker. If Donald Trump had lost, they would have sentenced him and he would have went to prison. The Republican Party was holding this bat, and they knew that if Donald Trump lost the election, he was going to claim fraud. And what they were going to do is just let him go to prison. They might have even complained like, oh my God, look at the Democrats. They're arresting their opposition. Tyranny, tyranny, tyranny. Knowing that it was all legitimate and using it as a cudgel, using it as a way to fire up their base after a defeat that many of the Republican base would have denied the legitimacy of. Donald Trump would have been screaming from the top of his lungs about how he's being imprisoned after the election was rigged against him. All of that would have happened. But guess what? Now that he's won the election, all that shit is over because legal realism is correct. If you don't know what legal realism is, this is the way that I interpret law. Legal realism is a legal theory predicated on the notion that all law derives from prevailing social interests and public policy as opposed to purely formalistic legal considerations. In Donald Trump's case, objectively proves legal realism correct. Donald Trump was prosecuted according to the formalistic legal procedures. He was found guilty in a court of law by a jury of his peers. His sentencing date was set. But because he was the elected president, all those formal legalistic considerations go out the fucking window. Now it is social interest. It's public policy. It is the reality of the power of the Republican Party winning the election. It is the sense of the American people that it would be unfair to put the elected president in prison. That is what is keeping him out. Not because he's right, not because he didn't commit the crimes, not because he hasn't been duly convicted, but because of how society actually functions. Legal realism, in case you were wondering, is traditionally considered the left-wing way of interpreting law, recognizing that law exists to serve the social interests that are currently dominant within society. So in a bourgeois capitalist society, the legal system serves the interest of capitalists and the rich. In a workers' state, then the interest of the legal system would be to defend the revolution, defend the working class. So if you want the legal system to be fair to workers, you need to have a society run by the workers.